A recent analysis was done. In fact, multiple analyses have been done recently on Donald Trump's speaking patterns, on his rambling during his rallies. Basically, this man's speaking patterns, according to mental health professionals, are indeed indicative of somebody that is in serious cognitive decline, possibly somebody that could be suffering from something like Alzheimer's or dementia. And again, that's coming from mental health professionals. I have talked about it ad nauseum. A lot of other folks on the left have talked about it. Nobody's done a better job covering it, by the way, than Chauncey DeVega at Salon.com, so full credit to him. But the issue is that those of us on the left talking about this, doing segments on it, writing articles about it, it doesn't get out there to 99% of the country. Yes, it goes to our audience, and that's great. Yes, the people who are already actively engaged in politics hear about this. But 99% of the country isn't that involved. In fact, I think it's actually 96% of the country is not consuming any political news. They're not seeking it out on a daily basis. But I guarantee you all of those people could tell you right now that, oh yeah, President Biden definitely suffering from cognitive decline. And the reason they're able to say that about President Biden and not about Donald Trump is because of the media coverage. Lee Siegel, who is an author, he's written multiple different books, recently published, I guess you'd call it an op-ed in the New Statesman. And in this op-ed, he talked about the fact that Donald Trump's mental decline, mental deficiencies, possibly even mental illnesses, as I like to say it, is not getting the kind of coverage that it deserves, and it sure as hell is not getting the same amount of coverage as President Biden's issues. I'm going to read you a couple of pieces of this because I think this is just an exceptionally powerful article that I want everyone to be aware of. So here's this part. Events move so fast, the news cycle is so accelerated, that the most telling signs of Trump's decline pass without commentary. It might be illuminating to dwell a little on one of them. About 2 weeks ago, Trump seemed to denigrate the Medal of Honor, America's highest award for military valor in combat. Speaking at his New Jersey golf club, he was praising Miriam Adelson, the Israeli-American widow of the late Republican mega-donor Sheldon Adelson, when he recalled how he once gave her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Miriam, I watched Sheldon sitting so proud in the White House when we gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor that's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets or they're dead. She gets it and she's a healthy, beautiful woman, and they're rated equal. Obviously, that was a big issue for Donald Trump. It pissed off veterans. It pissed off most people that were looking at this. But that issue, again, 2 weeks ago, that's just gone. Now, of course, we moved on to the scandal of him at Arlington National Cemetery. But I promise you, I don't even have to promise you. It's already faded. And that was a big, massive scandal for several days. But Trump's problems, and all of these go back to his cognitive decline, they don't get the coverage. When Biden messed up in the debate, okay, it was so bad that every single media outlet in the country, left, right, and center, by the way, local news, everywhere, everybody was talking about it for weeks on end to the point where he had to drop out of the race. The media could have done the exact same thing about Donald Trump, not just with that one example that Siegel pointed out in that one paragraph. He goes on. Trump's extreme rhetoric is still routinely dismissed as him, quote, just being Trump, the usual hyperbole and bluster. Yet, it is hardly mere bluster or hyperbole for Trump to claim, as he has recently, that, quote, you can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get whatever it may be. Perhaps the most alarming part of that sentence is the disturbingly disconnected whatever it may be. And it is not merely vulgar for Trump to republish a post claiming that Kamala Harris has achieved political success thanks to sexual favors. The claim is not just appalling, it is crazy to make it in public. That post appeared with several others, a photo of Harris in an orange prison jumpsuit, a photo of Barack Obama with a caption asking Trump supporters if they wanted Obama to be tried before a military tribunal, and photos of Trump with AI-created lions. Most people do not lack inhibition to this degree, but Trump's repetition of such lunacy has made it routine. Call it the banality of madness. Trump's assertion, made in deadly earnest in an interview last Tuesday with Dr. Phil McGraw, that God had spared him from being assassinated in order to save America and possibly the world, barely raised an eyebrow. Incredibly, in America, where just about everything goes, Trump, for example, there is a tacit prohibition against discussing Trump's obvious mental incapacity in public. The taboo was imposed in February 2017, just over a year after Trump's inauguration. That was actually just a month past the inauguration. That was when the New York Times published a short letter signed by 33 psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers, noting Trump's inability to tolerate views different from his own, leading to rage reactions, and his pattern of distorting reality to suit his own psychological state. The letter reasoned that in a powerful leader, these attacks are likely to increase as his personal myth of greatness appears to be confirmed. That was published in the New York Times, as he mentioned, in 2017, February 2017. And there was such backlash from the public of them calling out Donald Trump's mental state, using mental health professionals, that the New York Times then went out there and started attacking the mental health professionals themselves, saying that this was unprofessional, this is not okay, these people should lose their licenses. So the one time the media, the big corporate media, did cover it, they immediately had to backtrack and be like, no, these people, they're crazy people over there. Trump's fine. Don't worry about him. And to this day, I think they are still afraid to talk to the mental health professionals. They're afraid to talk about it. They're afraid to address the issue, but they weren't afraid to do it with President Biden. Now, if they had completely ignored all of Biden's issues and ignored Trump's, then I would be like, okay, obviously they don't want to wade into those waters, right? But we saw story after story, day after day, about Biden's mental health until he dropped out. And then they continued for a few days. Then they started popping up every couple of days. And now those have disappeared because Biden's leaving. We don't care. But Trump is still in the race. And he is still suffering from very severe cognitive decline, and the media is just whistling past the graveyard at this point. I got to continue. It could be that the debate over whether it's acceptable to call Trump mentally unfit to be president is at the heart of the weird debate over who is more weird, the Democrats or the Republicans. America is becoming unrecognizable so fast in so many ways to so many different types of people that the words weird and sick are being anxiously domesticated into neutral terms of description. Yet, in the end, the unclarity is all the more reason to be vigilant about truly aberrant figures slipping into leadership of the country under the cover of a revolution of norms. Trump is truly aberrant. Everyone knows it, his supporters as much as his detractors. No one talks like this man. No one abuses other people like this man. No one misrepresents reality like this man, and he is not lying. He is describing what he perceives, which is not what is actually there. So again, he says aberrant. I think it's supposed to be abhorrent there. I may have pulled this from an article that had a lot of typos. But anyway, the issue is the media coverage. There is no denying that Donald Trump is suffering from serious cognitive decline. And I am going to continue covering it. I am going to give it the coverage it deserves, but I am not enough, even with everybody else in the leftist media covering it too, because I know they do. That's still not enough. 96 to 99% of the U.S. population isn't getting these stories, but they got the Biden stories. Their local news outlets were covering it. But Trump can go out there, go off on these wild tangents, make no sense at all, have these nervous breakdowns on Truth Social, and the media barely makes a peep because they know, well, he's just going to do it again in 5 minutes, so what's the point in talking about it at all? The point in talking about it is letting the voters know that the man on that ticket, at the top of the Republican presidential ticket, is mentally unstable. And that could lead to disastrous consequences, not just for the United States, but for the entire world. And the media has a responsibility to the public to at least let them know that it's happening. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.